Good morning, everybody. MG here. MGCovers bringing you a brand new sports handicapping video. Title of this video, very simple tip for handicapping college football. College football is just over a month away. This tip is going to help you, and it's very, very simple. Before you do it, as always, if this is your first time watching my videos, greatly appreciate you subscribing to the channel. There's a ton of content on this channel related to sports handicapping. So if you want to learn the unadulterated truth about this business, subscribe to the channel, watch the videos, and you will drastically improve your handicapping. If you follow me on social media, I pump out a ton of content on Instagram. Had a huge rant last night on a lot of different topics. So if you just simply follow me on Instagram, MGCovers, cover spelled with the Z. There's a link in this description that will take you right there to follow me. So you get a lot of value simply by following me without paying out anything out of pocket. All right, so let's talk about this college football tip. And what I want to do is I'm going to give you just a short explanation of how this came about. This is a new college football model that I'm working on. And just so to explain it, this is from week 6 of last year. What you see in this column, this is my line. Over here is the books line. And then the margin difference, meaning the point margin between my line and the books line. For example, Jacksonville State, my line was basically -14. Books line was 2.5. That equals 16. And they won outright, so that was a win. So that's what this is. And if you scroll down to the bottom, this model is going to be really good. This is a new model I'm working on. It went this particular week here was, scroll to the bottom. Actually, that needs to be updated. It's actually 14-8. It was an edit from last night. There was another game I didn't have in there. So at 14-8, it went, I think I tested week 4, it went 18-14. And then another week was 18-9. So super excited about this model. Now I want to show you what I already knew this, but it kind of reminded me of doing this last night. Let's go to this first game right here. And I think showing you guys like how you can discover things in the process of sort of verifying. So when you see something that might potentially work, you have to recognize it and then you have to verify it statistically. So Liberty was -16, my line. Books line had them at 21.5. So that actually favored Sam Houston. We had a little bit of value with Sam Houston there. Now, via the model, this wouldn't be a play. So let's go and actually look at this game here. You can see there, so Liberty was -21.5, and Sam Houston won. So now understand a 21.5 line. That's basically means what? They have to win by a touchdown plus a field goal, 3 touchdowns and a field goal, or they have to win by 4 touchdowns. That is a lot of points to cover, okay? And also too, understanding numbers, this is also true for NFL. A 21.5 line is the same as 22, 22.5, 23, 20, 23.5, because it's rare for a game to end in 22 or 23. It's more likely either end in a 21-point margin or a 24-point margin. So anytime you see 21.5, it's basically they gotta win by 3 touchdowns and a field goal. Okay, so Sam Houston covers there. So let's scroll down some more until we see the next one. Let's look at this line here. Western Michigan was 21.5-point dogs to Mississippi State. Mississippi State won, but they did not cover the 21.5. All right. And you're starting to probably figure out what we're noticing here. Howard, Northwestern. Howard was a 23-point dog. So again, that's essentially the same line as 21.5, 22.5, etc. So it's basically the same line. Northwestern did not cover there. So if you discover this, you can't this is important. You can't automatically conclude like, okay, anytime there's a line that's, more than 3 touchdowns, I should play the dog. Not necessarily, because I'm going to show you why here in a second, but you're at least notating that, right? Because this is a very small sample size. It's just something that you notice. Ohio covered a spread of 24.5. Now, look at that score, 42-17. They covered, but they only covered it by a half point. So they barely covered. All right, let's keep scrolling. Virginia Tech, Florida State. Virginia Tech covered a spread of 23.5. Again, Florida State won, but did not cover. All right, here's another one. This is 21. Had Wake Forest and Clemson, and Wake Forest covered that one. Clemson won, but did not cover the 21-point spread. All right, let's see if we have any more. I think this was sort of a short week for college football this week. All right, and then finally, here's the last one. Arizona, Southern Cal, same deal. Arizona was plus 21. Southern Cal was a 21-point favorite at home and barely won that one. They won that one in overtime. So what we're noticing is that it's very difficult for teams in college football, to cover a spread greater than 3 touchdowns. So that's sort of our hypothesis. So now we need to verify this statistically. So how do we do that? All right. Now, this is a really good resource. If you guys don't know about teamrankings.com, it's a very good resource to use. And I already have this listed. They have a ton of different parameters you can use. They have just about every stat you want to use. This is year to date from last year. So this is taking into account the entire season last year, and we're going to look at average margin of victory. Michigan, Oregon, Georgia were the only 3 teams that averaged winning by more than 3 touchdowns. So we basically proved what we thought was true. And again, that's an average, but still, that's really, really good data. So Michigan, Oregon, Georgia, only 3 teams that average winning by more than 3 touchdowns. All right. And also, let's scroll down to the bottom and let's look at the bad teams. See how many teams lost average by more than. So you had 2 teams. You only had 1 team. Kent State averaged losing by more than 3 touchdowns. So with this data, we can conclude that it's very difficult for teams to cover a 21.5 spread. So could you actually build a model just handicapping these type plays? Probably so, because the data supports that. Or you could do it the way that I did it with the model. Anytime a team had value via the model, but they were greater than 21.5 point favorite, I just simply pass. Because again, that's a statistical property that shows that it's very difficult for teams to cover 21.5 spread or higher. It's the same in baseball. I've talked about this if you follow me on Instagram. It's rare for teams to sweep in baseball. So when teams have won the first 2 games, it's best to pass or potentially fade that team. So if they're playing a 4-game series and they've won the first 3, very difficult for them to sweep. So that's a very strong statistical property. And I hope that video helped because it kind of shows you the process of how I went through that. So if you see something, always notate it down. And then once you notate it, you're going to have to verify that statistically to make sure that is true. So I hope that video helps. If you want access to all my power rankings, we've had a really solid season with Major League Baseball. I'm looking at that right now. We're at 26, almost 27 units. The goal is to end up with 40 year to date. If you want access to those lines every single day, we'll have college football, NFL coming up here soon. $50 a month, very inexpensive. There's a link to join the description box. If you want access to everything I just mentioned, in addition to all my plays, that's $100. The best value, you can get access to everything on the website for an entire year. Instead of paying $100 a month, you pay $500 one time. You save about $600 on the yearly. Link to join the description box. Like this video, subscribe to the channel. Talk to you guys soon. Peace.